No, stop it. Get to the chopper! Stupid.
Okay.
Leave that mic on, the sound effect mic on. Oh, here we are. It's the Weiscrakin Show. It is December 18th,
You're
2018.
Dave.
I'm Dave. Thank you, Marty. Thanks for pointing that out. Beauty and the Beast. Sorry, Beast.
Yes. Oh, I'm the Beast?
You're the Beast.
Oh, I see
how
how
that
it
goes.
is.
That's how it goes.
How's that couch going to feel?
All right, so we're doing oh! So we're doing a two-part show tonight.
Yes,
we're doing
we
one
are.
about the Trump going down in flames.
A lot of news hit today.
A lot of news, and then we're doing
that.
the pagan traditions. What's behind Christmas?
Yes, like where does the origin of the traditions that we celebrate that we never question? Except when I was 10, I questioned it.
Christmas tree, the wreath,
Grandma,
Yuletide.
what does a Christmas tree have to do with Jesus Christ being born?
Zero.
And she was like, "Be quiet right now."
Right. Kind of like how
face.
Easter eggs have nothing to do with the resurrection. So let's
Right.
Let's start with our news first.
Oh, first let's discuss what we're going to be doing this weekend.
What? Oh.
The brand new Super Wawa.
Right. So there's a brand new Wawa in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's like a restaurant. Have you guys heard of
11,000
this?
square feet.
Yeah, it's on 6th and Chestnut in Philadelphia. So
Is it 11,000 square feet?
11,000 square feet.
It's like a Wawa restaurant. And this thing is fucking ringing in my ear. I can't stand it. Anyway, it's a Wawa restaurant, but it's 11,000 square feet.
There's
like
seating in there?
Seating.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so we're going to take a trip there on Sunday and check it out.
We're taking a trip to Philly just to go to the Wawa. Because that's what we do.
That's what we do. We investigate things. Right. Okay.
So,
all right.
Start
so
off with the news?
Yes.
Half hour of the news. All 20 minutes now of the news.
Okay. So David,
get through that.
Do you know what day it is in the Trump administration?
I don't know. I'm afraid to ask.
Day number 698.
698.
Somehow we're
we
still
now have an
on.
accused felon in the White House.
Yes, we have individual one.
Right. Individual one is in deep number 2.
Yes, he is.
Everything he's been involved in, everything. And what was shut down today? His
okay, well, this is what happened today.
Go ahead.
Trump will close his foundation and give away its remaining $1.7 million in assets amid a lawsuit accusing the Trump, Ivanka, Eric, and Trump Jr. of illegally using the foundation for personal and political gain. So basically,
the American dream
is dead.
Yes.
With his family.
I mean, so this was a slush fund, and
absolutely.
it wasn't, and it's not like he's voluntarily shutting it down. He's being forced
to shut
down
his charity.
Okay, so listen to some of the things that he's done with it. New York Attorney General Barbara Underwood accused the foundation of a shocking pattern of
No.
illegality.
Shocking pattern of illegality.
Which included
with Trump.
unlawful coordination with the Trump presidential campaign that was willful and repeated.
Right.
Trump used the charity money to pay legal settlements for his private business, to purchase a $10,000 portrait of himself.
Right.
To be displayed in his golf club.
Stupid ass.
And to make prohibited political donations. He's not allowed to do
It
that.
can happen.
He's not allowed to do that with
Right.
that
No,
donated
not at all,
money.
no.
This is supposed to be money to help out, people in need and stuff
Right.
like that. And he
Is this the cancer fund? Is this the cancer charity thing? or
I
is that
mean,
something
no, it's
different?
for any kind of charity. So people would donate to his charity. This was other
Shame,
people's
shame.
money. It wasn't even his money. It was other people's money
It's
that
always
they
other
donated.
people's money. It's always.
OPP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time.
So he used other people's money that they donated for a charitable cause. They could have gone to the veterans, which he loves, or someone
That's right.
else.
Right.
And he used it to buy a picture of himself for $10,000.
And it only makes common sense.
I don't know what that is. Sorry.
So the Attorney General office is seeking for Trump's foundation to pay $2.8 million in restitution.
2.8 million.
2.8 million. Okay. All right. So the big news of the day is.
It doesn't exist, folks.
Yes, it does. It's Michael Flynn.
Oh,
Now,
Michael
if we had a great button about Michael Flynn, it would be lock her up,
Right, right, we
Because
don't have
that
that.
was what he chanted on stage.
Right, the Republican National Convention. He
Right.
came out and
It was
locked her
always
up,
lock her up,
yeah,
and now
yeah, yeah.
he's in huge trouble. I mean,
in deep trouble.
he's in more trouble than probably anybody else in this administration.
That's right.
Because he has a judge now saying he's
And
committed treason.
It doesn't matter what he did before. It doesn't
No.
matter what a great general he was. It all doesn't matter.
No,
It matters what he did from
He-
Trump on.
he made a deal with the devil.
He
You
made a
know,
deal with somebody. He's in deep shit. And even
Yeah.
the judge is like, listen, didn't he tell me he's going to give? He's not.
All right, this is what
ready?
happened.
Go ahead. You tell the
Michael
story.
Flynn agreed to delay his sentencing after U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan told Trump's former national security advisor, quote, "You sold your country out. And because of that, I cannot assure you if you proceed today
Right.
that you will not receive a sentence of incarceration."
You know,
Robert,
there's something happening. This is not like a normal situation.
no,
That's
it's
right,
not
Donald.
normal.
That's right,
He's
Donald.
right. That's the one thing he's right about.
That's right.
Robert Mueller recommended that Flynn serve no jail time for his crime because of the substantial help he provided the special counsel in other investigations. Flynn was supposed to be sentenced today for lying to the FBI and acting as an unregistered agent for Turkey. The judge also asked the special counsel's office whether Flynn could be charged with treason after he acted as an unregistered agent of a foreign country while serving as the national security advisor to the President of the United
They
States.
went in with other expectations because of the information that he gave.
Yes,
But
and
he
he
kinda-
was actually texting people from the inauguration,
Right.
telling them he's going to get special deals for them.
But
Like
he
they
came
have
out of-
his text
he
messages.
He came out of court with this today.
Yeah, he sure did. Because he came into court. Did you see him walking into court? He
Yeah.
was all happy.
Yeah.
He was like,
Well, what do you
he
have?
was like, let's see. That's the way he
Right,
walked out of
the
the car.
cheering,
Like he's
yeah.
like, I'm here.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then afterwards, no. After the judge just handed him, they read him the riot act.
They did.
And then
definitely.
he got this look on his face. He's like, oh, I'm in trouble now. Yeah, he is. He's an idiot. So his sentencing has been delayed until March 13th.
March 13th.
So-
he's still in custody though, right?
Yeah,
He's still in jail.
and he is. I don't know if he's still in jail. I don't really know where he's at. But Sullivan's last words to the court were "Happy Holidays." He's telling Flynn, "You better start singing more like a canary, or you're gonna go to jail."
I have a song for the whole Trump administration. Would you like to hear it? It's
Yeah.
something from the 80s.
Yes. Yeah.
Look at Ruben.
That's right. Okay, so Mueller then released a memo from 2017 that summarizes Michael Flynn's contemptuous interview with the FBI.
Who did that?
Mueller. The interview was the catalyst. Yeah.
We're testing out our soundboard tonight.
The story you're about to see is true.
Yes, indeed.
boy.
Laws have been changed to protect the
That's
innocent.
right.
There are no innocent people in the Trump administration.
And we
Let's-
might as well do a shout out to Michael Cohen.
Says who?
All right, let's get back to this. So, the interview with Michael Flynn and the FBI was the catalyst that led to the high-profile case against Trump's former national security advisor and felon.
That's right.
According to the memo, Flynn lied during the interview about his contact with then Russian ambassador to the U.S., Sergei Kislyak, during the 2016 presidential transition period. But that was when everybody said to him, have you had contact with anybody from Russia? And he's like, nope, not
Trevor,
me.
not me.
Nope. And then, so he lied to Pence too. And they knew that he did.
They knew he did.
Yeah.
It's funny to me because he...
they bug things all the time. They might not bug Michael Flynn, but they might be bugging Sergei Kislyak.
He was in Army intelligence.
He
It
was.
just-
How
it
stupid are
drives
you?
me crazy.
And
Just
his
because
whole excuse
just-
of like, I can't be in trouble because I wasn't read
I
my
didn't
Miranda.
know I had a...
I didn't know that I couldn't lie to the
FBI. The fuck?
I know.
Like-
And my Republican friend, who I shall not name tonight, you know, he's all like, "This is all going to be overturned." I'm like,
Oh,
have
you
you
can name
not? Have you not seen, like Law and Order? Whenever someone says you're going to question, then you say, "I want a lawyer." Don't
Right.
say anything. Say, "I want a lawyer."
Right.
Like he's
You mean
in
to tell me?
You mean to tell me that you're a general, and you don't say, "I want a lawyer"?
Oh, Michael Flynn.
And they even said to him, like the FBI said, with other people, we just bust into their house and question them with no warning. But with Michael Flynn, we told him days ahead. We're like, we're going to be at the White
That's
House
right.
at this time
right.
to question you.
Right.
So get prepared. And he was the one who decided not to be prepared.
Here, what gets me is that he's an intelligence guy, and these things that are sent out through email, through text, through whatever, are out there.
Yeah, they don't
They're
go
out
away.
there.
They
No,
don't go.
You can delete all you want. They're still out there, and there are ways to be found and brought back in.
Yes, that's very true. And besides that, so the judge today said to him, because he was wise, because Trump's been tweeting about it, and Trump's like, it was
Shocking,
illegal.
shocking.
It was illegal what they did to him. It was illegal the way that they questioned him. So the judge asked Flynn, was there anything wrong with the way that you were questioned? Do you want to backtrack on anything? Is there anything? And he said, absolutely not. I did what they're saying I did. So that wasn't. Yeah. So the judge seemed to be really pissed off that people were saying that the FBI did something wrong, because no matter what, whether you're under oath or not, you cannot lie to the FBI.
Yeah, right.
They're going to get you. So anyway, Flynn lied. We know that. The memo includes clear examples of Flynn lying and claiming that he never made any policy requests of Russia, as FBI agents prod him to provide fuller descriptions of the calls. Flynn Intel Group co-founder Bijan Rafikian,
Say that again?
Rafikian, also known as Bijan Kian, pleaded not guilty after being charged with conspiracy and acting as an agent of a foreign government.
Wow.
So hours earlier, Trump wished Flynn, a confessed felon, good luck ahead of the sentencing hearing today. Will be interesting. Will be interesting to see what he has to say, Trump tweeted, despite tremendous pressure being put on him about Russian collusion in our great and obviously highly successful
And
political
that is a
campaign.
nation that truly has no clue. They don't know what they're doing.
Well,
sounds a lot
Flynn
like this
will be the
administration.
highest-ranking Trump administration aide to be sentenced as part of Mueller's investigation
Another
into
witch,
Russian
right?
interference.
Another witch.
Yes.
Another witch.
Yeah.
Right, I
I
got
mean,
it.
Trump is now he's just texting in all caps, witch hunt.
Oh, he's
Like,
just,
over and
he's
over
texting
again.
in caps. He's
Yeah.
tweeting in caps
Witch hunt.
now.
Like he's just writing witch hunt. He's completely going off
Gino,
there.
it's over, dude. It's over for him.
It is
It's
over. Yeah, he has
Over.
no way to turn. And the thing about it is, like, I thought he wouldn't run in 2020, but now what it looks like is, like, if they aren't going to indict him, they can seal it, and they don't have to.
Right.
They don't have to unseal
he's
it
out.
until he's out, and
You
then
know
they
what's
can
going to
charge
happen?
him.
They're going to go after Trump Jr. and Eric, which they are already.
Yeah.
And Ivanka, once again to Ivanka, he's going to be like,
Maybe,
I
but
hope he
he's the
steps
type of
down.
guy- he
He's
was-
going to be like Donald Trump Jr. Never knew him, didn't know him very
But
well.
he-
He's your son.
I know. I think he would push his kids in front of a bus to
He
get out
is
of
the
it.
boss. He'd ride right over him.
So Giuliani, your favorite lawyer.
Ugh. He sounds like somebody's drunk uncle with a really bad lisp, and the wide-ass Christianizer he gets. You know what I mean? Like,
And
listen,
his teeth is
that,
so bothered me so bad.
That 9/11 cash register ran out a long time
It
ago.
ran out when he was trying to run for president.
And he's crazy. He's crazy.
He's crazy.
He's legitimately
well,
crazy.
you know, like the guy came out this week and said that Trump cut up Adderall and snorted up his nose.
Yeah, some comedian said that.
Right, because it wasn't a
No,
comedian.
it was a guy who worked on
The Apprentice.
On The Apprentice with him, but he was doing stand up.
Right.
He was doing open mic.
But
saying
it
that
makes some sense. So you see how many times he sniffs into it like that?
When he was doing his the debate with Clinton,
Yeah.
when he was hovering over her,
Yeah, like a shark. It was-
like the entire time. The only
He kept on
smart
doing
one-
that to the
only-
microphone. It was
The only
making me
smart one in his
sick.
family is this person.
Tiffany.
That's her.
Yeah.
She wants nothing to do. She had nothing to do with the business.
Yep.
Probably changed her name and moved.
She's like,
move out. She's like, fuck you guys.
my name is Tiffany Maples.
right.
And who's the smartest person in the administration?
In the whole administration.
Yeah, who's the smartest person? I'll tell you who it is. Is that Mike Pence's chief of staff?
Oh, he goes, I don't want to
Nick
be.
Ayers. He's like, not only is he not going to do it, he's actually quitting the whole thing.
Right.
He's like,
And even-
I need to spend more time with my family, and I'm not going to work for Pence either.
It's so funny. We're watching The West Wing. Have you guys ever watched The West Wing? With Martin Sheen
It's really good.
as president.
We never
It's-
saw it.
It's
so.
really, really good. Okay, we know it's a fictitious White House. It was on during the Clinton times.
Yeah.
But it actually shows behind the scenes of what they're going through, like policies and a bomb went off over here and this problem over there, and how they're handling it, and how people jump on it, how they delegate it. Now they're just chasing. It's kind of like the dog chasing its own tail. All they're focusing on now is Trump.
Yeah.
Nothing's being done, like as far as foreign policy stuff. Who's doing that stuff?
No, and the way that they
Domestic
vetted
policy. Who's doing it? Who's running the show?
the way that they vetted the Supreme Court too, you know?
The way it was, the show is really amazing. We're watching it now because we're trying to escape reality of this politics and see like a real president in action.
Yeah.
It's really something because there's someone writing a speech or someone double checking that and then triple checking with backing. Where with Trump, they just kind of let him go and speak his mind. And
Think about
Well-
the contrast between CJ, the
Yes.
press secretary, and
Huckabee Sanders.
look
Look here,
here,
look here. With her fucking
Mr.
eye way
Trump.
up in her head. And the other
Mr.
one,
Trump always
she-
says the
She
truth.
looks like a Picasso.
Yeah.
Fucking Harris. She'll never. Once this whole administration is done, nobody in this administration will be able to get a job anywhere.
She's such a shit kicker too.
She's a shit kicker, fucking
Yeah.
cowboy hat wearing, tumbleweed,
And as she starts
Fucking
lying
hate
more and
that.
more, she just gets uglier and uglier.
uglier and uglier because it eats you from the
It
inside
does.
out.
The inside, you're so poisoned in the inside. It just makes, because I've seen pictures of her. I tell you this, I saw pictures of her at her wedding. Like I looked on Google. I'm serious. She actually looked very pretty.
Blech.
And since then, I don't know what has happened to her.
It
Anyway,
eats you from the inside out.
Giuliani.
Ugh.
Okay.
And back to him. His fucking mouth, Giuliani, Rudy, go see a dentist. Fix this down here.
Don't you think he has money to fix his teeth? Like, why has he
Have
not
you guys
gotten
seen
implants?
Giuliani's teeth? When he opens his mouth, they're all green and shit on the bottom. Like, dude,
They're
go
like
to a
black
dentist.
teeth,
They're-
but then the top are obviously a plate on the top.
when you talk that much shit, your mouth turns into a toilet. It just looks like the color of your
so
shirt, like
disgusting.
the green. Oh, it's so nasty. Not lisp, but I feel like I'm like going like this every time I watch him on TV. I'm like, God, stop spinning.
All right, so he said Trump is negotiating with Mueller over whether or not to provide more written answers to the special counsel's questions. We might agree, Giuliani says. And if they do agree, he continued, Trump may provide a few more answers or we might not. We don't know. See what?
She's no angel herself, but she's also not a Russian puppet either.
No,
none
she's
of
not
these
a Russian
people are
puppet.
angels. I know.
But every time I ask somebody, when people talk about Nancy Pelosi, right, I'll say, name me what Nancy Pelosi has done. What has she done?
She
Yeah.
has. She's done a lot. You look it up.
Yeah, she's
We can't
one
name it
that.
offhand, but she's actually done a lot.
No, I mean, what has she done that's so wrong?
What has she done that's so?
Like, why if she's done stuff that's wrong? Why is she not in jail?
See, that's where Trump supporters go. They go right to Benghazi. They go right to Hillary's emails. Build the wall to that. You guys can't get over either one of those.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit Benghazi already.
No, well,
Trump had his Benghazi too. It was called Africa when those 4 soldiers
wait a second
died.
about
What-
Benghazi. So Benghazi was investigated how many times?
18 times.
Yeah, 18 times by who?
By
A Republican
Republicans.
Congress and Republican Senate,
And they found
namely Trey
nothing.
Gowdy. They found no chargeable events. They stuck Hillary Clinton up there for 11 hours and grilled her.
And she
they
didn't
found
cry
nothing to
and
charge her
break
with.
down and talk about beer like fucking Kavanaugh did. During his
I
year.
like beer. Do you like beer?
You like beer? What kind of beer do you want, Senator?
No, Hillary
the
Clinton just
fuck?
sat there and answered the
And
questions.
took the questions. It's-
Yeah, I think they might have gave her a
No,
bathroom
stop
break.
With that. Stop with Benghazi and the emails.
Benghazi is a non-issue. They would have
Trump has
charged.
done- Trump has
if
done
there
way-
was a crime there, it would have been charged.
What?
This is
And
very
they
true.
were also denied. They were also denied backup by
Yeah.
the
But
Republican Congress.
They asked for extra funding. They were not granted that
They were
extra
denied
funding.
the extra funding.
Yeah,
So before you
they
watch
asked for
Keep
security.
Up with Tucker Carlson and Fox News,
Yeah,
there's the other side.
and we know Congressman Kim, who was with Chris Stevens, so he has the backstory of that.
There is a whole backstory.
Yeah,
to
there's
it.
a whole backstory that even Chris Stevens' family did not agree with what the Republicans were doing. They were politicizing the entire thing.
Absolutely. Are we almost done with the news? Because we had
We're almost done. Yes.
Do a little break.
Giuliani. Trump discussed a proposed Trump Tower in Moscow with Michael Cohen. Later than previously known.
Oh boy.
Trump previously claimed the discussions about the project ended in January 2016, but Giuliani indicated the conversations could have been over in June or July of 2016. And you have to understand, that's the end of the campaign. He had already been at that point, gone
Right.
through the convention.
Right. So a little late.
Yes.
Yeah. A little late on
Yeah,
that.
30.
You want to go to our commercial?
Are we at 10 o'clock now?
Yeah, we are.
We only have 2 minutes?
All right, 2 minutes.
All right, let me see what else I can tell you in 2 minutes. Let's say. Roger Stone. Roger Stone was
What?
in the news too. Okay,
He
Roger Stone
apologized for lying. on
admitted to
InfoWars.
spreading lies via InfoWars. So another Alex Jones type thing. In order to avoid paying fines in a now settled defamation lawsuit against him. He's going to be forced to run apology ads in national newspapers and post on social media apologizing for defaming a Chinese businessman who is a vocal critic of Beijing.
He's just as dirty, also.
He is such
Fucking
a weirdo.
Roger Stone. He's such a weirdo. And from that tattoo of Nixon on his back.
Hey, did you know he took a lie detector test?
Yeah.
He took a lie detector test in an attempt to prove he was not conspiring with Russia during Trump's 2016 campaign. The results were inconclusive.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, wait, what's coming? Wait, where's it at? We'll be knocking on his door soon. Roger
Yeah.
Stone, he's going to go down.
I
So
think that's
anybody-
coming sooner. I hope
Anybody
it-
who associates
The story
themselves
you're
with
about
Trump
to
is
see
going to
is
get.
true.
It's going to be.
But you know what?
investigation.
Here's my prediction. I mean, we should do our prediction for the new year. So my prediction really is that I think we're going to see something with Don Jr. and maybe even Ivanka with charges. But I don't think we're going to see charges against Trump himself. I don't think we're going to see charges. I think it's going to be sealed. I really do.
I think they're there already and they're
I
sealed.
think they're there.
They're ready.
Yeah, and they're sealed because there's a statute of limitations, and you have to charge somebody. Like you have to, but that indictment can remain sealed from when he gets out of office.
Once Democrats come back in, there's going to be a lot of laws changing.
Yeah. You know what? And then one should be you need to vet people before they're allowed to run for president. They need to know
Listen,
something
when
about
I
government.
applied for my job, I had to go for fucking blood work. I had to go for drug tests. I had to go for a physical. You should, if you're running for president, you should have from everyone from your
you should have a
kindergarten
test. You should be tested on the
Tested.
Constitution.
Yes,
Yeah. And let me just say one last thing before we go on to our
there's
next
got to be
thing.
more besides 35 years old and a
Yeah,
natural born citizen.
right.
Bullshit.
Let's talk about the $4.9 billion in direct aid to farmers. All right, so let's
From
talk
China,
about,
right?
right.
Right.
So really, what's happening is he created a trade war with China, over and using our farmers as, collateral.
Right.
So so now he's going to give $4.9 billion
$1
of our tax money, which is actually a loan from the Chinese government. So basically, he's giving Chinese money to the farmers because he has made a bad deal with China.
Wrong.
That's
You
what he-
understand how that's working now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like socialism
and
to
they
farmers from a
right.
foreign country
From a foreign country
to a country who we have
that we
tariffs
have
against.
to pay back.
That we have
As
to pay back.
taxpayers,
Right.
we
See how
have to
works
pay
out?
that money back. And not us even, our grandkids and
It has not been
great-grandkids,
easy
we're going to have
for
to
me.
pay that back.
You know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
And now we know that's a lie,
We
too.
owe China.
Okay.
We're going to owe China a lot more.
All right, so let's do our
All right,
commercial.
do our commercial, Gino?
Okay.
Yep.
Ready for the commercial.
Thank you, Ruben.
Balls. My name is Frank Brook, owner of Fresh Balls. After years of growing smell and sweat, I finally decided the world needed a product made especially for men. And on that day, Fresh Balls was born. If you'd like a fresher and drier life, visit freshballs.com to try a free tube.
Yeah.
Oh, we had Ruben in our way and everything.
He had fresh balls on there. I could smell
We
them.
had fresh balls. You did. Smell you, Ruben.
So let's talk about fresh balls for a moment, our sponsor.
What are you talking about? Are my balls fresh?
Yeah,
They are fresh.
they are.
I use
That's
it
why
even in
you're
the
allowed to
winter.
sleep in my nice bed.
Goes on like a cream, dries like a lotion.
So it's like a
And
powder.
Dries like a powder. Did I say dries like a lotion? Dries like
Yeah.
a powder, my bad. I do use it even when I'm not sweaty because it helps the boys not stick when I do get sweaty. And everything.
Yes.
And
It's a good
it's
product.
up, it's natural.
And
it's
people,
very good.
and I just found this on the computer that if you go to freshballs.com and you fill out a little thing, they will send you a tube for free.
They will?
Yeah,
Ooh, how about that? A full tube?
a full tube.
And they make fresh brush for the lady and fresh feet.
Yeah, fresh feet's really good.
Fresh feet's good. I
Yeah,
use
it's
their
like
fresh
m-
feet
it's
on
like
my balls. I
minty.
got a little confused. A little minty. So my
You're
balls
not
are minty.
supposed to do that.
It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why you sprayed that there.
I don't know. Couldn't find my fresh balls. It was convenient.
And it's not an air freshener
Right.
when you mess up the
Sounds
bathroom.
like you shit and spearmint. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about now. It's Christmas coming up.
Well, yes, and we've been seeing signs that say "Keep Christ in Christmas."
Which cracks me up because the whole winter, it's winter solstice coming up. It's the shortest day of the year. This whole thing has zero to do with Jesus. Well, let's go back. We don't really know when Jesus was born,
No.
but because of the spread of Christianity across Europe and these pagan festivities that have been going on for thousands of years before Christ,
We'll celebrate nature and
celebrating
changing
nature and change and the shortest day and the whole calendar of the whole pagan calendar
Yeah.
was celebrated. They thought they'd let them include their festivities. Now, was it Christians accepting paganism or was it pagans becoming Christian? Which one was it?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I wasn't sure, but now that I read more about it, I think it's the latter. I think they had their pagan traditions because they said, like, the sun was a really big deal to.
Everything was about the sun.
It was about the sun because you know, when you're out farming, you need to do that in the sunlight. It's not like they had big overhead lights
Right.
or anything like that. It was pitch black. So they had very little sunlight. They really starved during the winter. They had a hard time. So they really appreciated when the days started to get longer. And right when the solstice happened, winter solstice, there was a 3-day point there where the days got longer. You know, because the shortest day is the 21st.
We don't know much about it, so if anyone wants to call, they can, and we're going by what we read. So we're going to talk about some interesting things.
Yeah,
why we
customs.
have Christmas trees and why there are wreaths and why the colors are red and green.
Yes.
So, want me to start off?
Yeah, you start off with yours, and then I'm going to do mine.
Oh, you have some of yours too?
Yeah, I have some mine.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, so you do yours.
So don't mind me while I'm reading. You can just listen or, whatever, turn us off. And I think we have 2 listeners, so we're
No, we
okay.
don't. We have a lot of listeners,
All right.
and
so
we appreciate them.
we do. All 4 of you. First, we have holly. In Roman mythology, holly was the sacred plant of the god Saturn. And to him, the Saturnalia festival, the Romans gave each gifts of holly wreaths. When Christians began to celebrate the birth of Jesus, they risked persecution For their religion, to avoid detection, they would place holly wreaths in the house. As pastors were concerned, they were celebrating Saturnalia, not Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's why we have wreaths. This is what this says. You can believe what you want. So what do you have?
I have about Christmas caroling.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the tradition of Christmas caroling actually began as a tradition of what's called wassailing. And you remember that's in A Christmas Carol, wassailing?
Wassailing, yeah.
Yeah, I never knew what it, like, that's one of those things we sing it, but we don't have no idea what wassailing actually means.
Okay, what do you got?
But that's what it was. In centuries past, wassailers went from door to door singing and drinking to the health of their neighbors. This concept actually harkens back to pre-Christian fertility rites. Only in those ceremonies, villagers traveled through the fields and orchards in the middle of winter, singing and shouting to drive away any spirits that might inhibit the growth of future crops. Caroling wasn't actually done in churches until St. Francis, around the 13th century, thought it might be a nice idea.
Huh? Gene, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm just going home.
Oh,
Ah,
damn.
See ya.
Gene's walking out. One Christian down, one to go.
that's our plan, right?
I'm not staying around for this shit.
Our plan is working.
My plan's working right now. We're getting kicked off the air. All right, I have mistletoe.
Okay, go.
Mistletoe was revered as a sacred plant by the Celts. Is that how you say it? Celts? Or Celts?
Celts.
Celts.
Yeah. Because Celtic.
And Northern American Native Americans. Druids believed the mistletoe could protect against thunder and lightning. Priests would use a golden sickle to cut a piece of mistletoe from an oak tree, catching the branches before they reached the ground. The mistletoe would then be cut in small pieces and distributed amongst the people. So that's what I have for mistletoe.
Yeah, okay. I on my thing of mistletoe, it also says that it's in Norse mythology.
Right, and it's a
Frigga.
symbol of joy and peace.
Yeah, and Frigga is a goddess of love.
See you later,
So
Gene.
Bye, Jean.
Happy Yule.
Okay, so mine is about gift-delivering mythical beings.
Okay.
We've all heard of Santa Claus, who has his roots in the Dutch Sinterklaas mythology, with a few elements of Odin and Saint Nicholas thrown in for good measure. But how many people have heard of La Befana, the kindly Italian witch who drops off treats for well-behaved children? Or Frau Hall, who gives gifts to women at the time of
Excuse
winter
our
solstice.
pronunciations. We're not familiar with
Frau
this.
Hall.
Frau Hall.
Frau. It's Frauholle.
So if somebody wants to correct us,
Yes.
feel free.
Right. So there's been plenty of people who've gone, plenty of tales told about different beings who delivered gifts and packages.
Okay. The Roman god Bacchus, Bacchus, wore ivy. In Roman times, ivy was a symbol of Bacchus, who was the god of wine and revelry. He wore it in his crown, and pagans believed the ivy to be a symbol of eternal life. Because of the pagan connotations surrounding ivy, early Christians did not use ivy to decorate the inside of their churches, preferring to use it as an outdoor decoration. It also plays an important traditional English part in traditional English Christmas, but is not popular in the U.S. The popularity of the Christmas hymn, the holly and the ivy, has helped ivy become more synonymous with the Christmas time.
Okay. What I got is hanging ornaments. Here come those Romans again. At Saturnalia, celebrants often hung metal ornaments outside on trees. Typically, the ornaments represent a god, either Saturn or the family's patron deity.
Okay.
The laurel wreath was a popular decoration. Well, we talked about the
You
wreaths
know what?
already.
We need some piano music backing us up in this. Yeah, you got some piano
Yeah.
music to back us up?
Or some holiday, because now
Need a little
yeah, a little
need a little
doo-doo-doo-doo,
something.
We talked about the laurel wreath. Early Germanic tribes decorated trees with fruit and candles in honor of Odin
Okay.
for the solstice.
Oh, I have Odin too.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Despite the fact that our modern day image of Father Christmas has largely been shaped by 1930s Coca-Cola advertising campaign, he most definitely has pagan roots. Children all over the world are told Father Christmas developed from Saint Nicholas, but those that follow paganism, though, it was more likely the story than that. More than the story of that, I can't read tonight. There was a pagan god named Odin, often depicted as a chubby old man with a white beard and wore a long flowing cloak. It is therefore a combination of these two characters and a liberal sprinkling of Coca-Cola advertising that has resulted in who we call Father Christmas or Santa Claus.
Imagine how amazing that campaign
Sorry about my
was.
reading. A little tired. I apologize. I need glasses.
Imagine how amazing that campaign was for Coca-Cola,
Right.
like introducing this Santa Claus that we now know.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty powerful advertising.
Absolutely.
So, do you know about fruitcake?
I hate fruit.
I hate fruitcake too.
Hate it,
so
hate
it's
it, hate it.
horrible. You know, when I was a kid too, I was always looking for things to eat, and I came across some fruitcake fruit like in my parents' cabinet. I was like, yum, gummy bears. No.
No, not so much.
No, they were not gummy bears. Like I put them all in my mouth.
Oh,
like,
now we have some piano music. Where'd it go?
that's horrible. I would say fruitcake has become the stuff of legend
Thank
because
you.
once a fruitcake is baked, it will seemingly outlive everyone who comes near it. Stories abound of fruitcakes from winters past magically appearing in the pantry to surprise everyone during the holiday season. What's interesting about the fruitcake is that it actually has its origins in ancient Egypt. There's a tale in the culinary world that Egyptians placed cakes made of fermented fruit and honey on the tombs of their deceased loved ones, and presumably these cakes would last as long as the pyramids themselves. I bet you they did.
But they're like Twinkies.
Yeah. In later centuries, Roman soldiers carried
That's
these
right.
cakes into battle made with mashed pomegranates and barley. There are even records of soldiers on crusades carrying honey-laden fruitcakes into the Holy Land with them.
Well, honey lasts forever.
Right, because they actually found honey in a tomb and somebody ate it and it was still fine.
It was 3,000 years old.
Yeah, it was
And
okay.
honey is one of the only foods I think that will never ever spoil
No.
because of the low water content. So they did find 3,000-year-old honey. I mean, it was crystallized, but it was still 100% edible.
That's right.
And what? Peanut butter doesn't age? I know definitely honey doesn't, but
Yeah.
have to check that out. So now we have the pagan holiday adopted to Christianity. This time around, the winter solstice was celebrated all over Europe, as nobody was really sure when Jesus was actually born. Early Christians altered their existing pagan festivities to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. In December, the sun appears to rise at the same point on the horizon for the 3 consecutive days beginning on the 22nd, and then miraculously, the 25th, it appears to move. The returning of the sun, going around, gone for 3 days and comes back, the rising of the sun. S-U-N, not S-O-N.
All right. There's a lot of that.
Our ancient ancestors watched this and celebrated the fact that the days were now beginning to get longer and the nights shorter. I also have why we burn a Yule log.
Good.
All right, the Yule log. The Yule log is a reminder of the times when European pagans would have bonfires at the time of the winter solstice, thereby symbolizing the return of the sun with the days starting to get longer again. The Yule log played a major role in the Yule festivities, with a piece of the previous year's log being saved to start the fire the following year. Traditionally, it was considered unlucky to buy a log. Instead, it was harvested from the household's land or received as a gift. Once brought into the house and placed ceremoniously in the fireplace, it was decorated with greenery and smothered with alcohol and dusted with flour before being set on fire. The log would burn all night before smoldering for 12 days. Celtic mythology told the stories of the Oak King, the Holly King, with the oak representing the time for the winter solstice to the summer solstice, and the holly representing the time from the summer solstice to the winter solstice. So the Yule logs are often represented by a chocolate-covered Swiss roll cake sprinkled with icing, sugar to represent the flour that was dusted onto the log before burning and decorated with small plastic sprigs of holly. See why we have a Yule log now?
I know.
See?
Yeah.
So a lot of these traditions that people... Go ahead, Ruben. No?
Yeah, turn that on there.
Turn that on.
There we go.
Yeah, there you
There
go.
you go.
Now
Okay.
you hear me. Actually, I do know a little history about Christmas myself, actually.
Okay.
I have to. I do agree with you 100%, even 1,000%, that Christmas has nothing to do with Christ.
Because they don't know the exact time. They made it more towards winter solstice.
They wanted to get more people into
as
the flock.
Christianity spread
Yeah.
across Europe, they were
Yeah.
like, let them keep their traditions.
Well, I mean, I can work a little bit backwards, but I can start from forward. Like, as the traditions were with Saturnalia, which is celebrated in Rome, and it was a pagan holiday, and there's some other they're not certainly sure, but as rumors have it that because there's so many because things weren't really written down about too much. But one thing was like the 12 days of Christmas. Now it was said that during the winter solstice, the reason why I call it 12 days of Christmas was during those 12 days, it was free to do anything you wanted to do, and guys, they
Wasn't
had
it like big orgies and celebrations?
Yeah.
And,
Probably.
and just
yeah.
very, very sex involved.
Right.
And
unfortunately, that also involved the children too as well.
really?
That's why when you have 12 days of Christmas, they say they gave you different gifts for kids and stuff like that when they had the orgies with the kids.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
See?
And also they had
I wonder
the
if that
thing
still
in
goes
Rome
on.
where they ate till they, gorged, birds. They ate until you threw up.
Yeah, yeah.
And that went on for 12 days as well.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that
Only thing
definitely
you couldn't
happening.
have done was murder. That was the only thing.
Right.
Everything else was a go. Free for all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that definitely happening.
But-
But you can see
like
how they really depended on the sun. They didn't
Yeah.
know back then, and
Right.
how Christianity took the sun as
Yeah.
being
As
gone
a-
for 3 days and coming back as the SON, not
And,
the
as
SUN.
Yeah, I actually want to get into that, to the Christianity part, actually, how that came in. The Christmas tree was actually put up in Germany.
Right, it goes
And
back. Yeah, it goes back. Yeah,
What
all the way
happened-
back to
and
Germany.
What happened was that the Prince of Germany married a princess of England, and that prince moved to England. And when they got married,
Okay.
and no, I think was it male. I think the male was British and the female was German. Well,
Either way, they brought
either
their
way,
traditions
they brought
with
the
them.
tradition, and they brought the Christmas tree to the palace,
Okay.
Buckingham Palace.
Mm-hmm.
And the people saw that royalty had a Christmas tree, so they wanted to have a Christmas tree in their house because they wanted to follow the royals.
Right.
And the balls on the tree, there's two significant signs. That one is true; it represented Saturn, the Saturn balls. Another thing was during Saturnalia is that anybody that was like a murderer or crime, they saved their heads for the time of the Christmas tree, and they hung their heads as balls on the trees.
Oh my
Oh.
God. See.
Yeah.
Well, we read
And-
too that when you started decorating the tree, you put food around it, and then you
Yeah.
put bells on the tree for like the spirits.
Spirits.
So
right.
the bells went off when the spirits came in. Because,
And the lights was because people actually used to put real candles
Right.
on the
Yeah,
tree.
that seems
Right.
dangerous.
Yeah, dry tree, you put a lit candle.
yeah, yeah.
It made it look nice, but
It probably did look nice
But
for about a half a second.
What catches us is when we're driving by a place that sells Christmas trees, and they say something like "for Christians only."
Yeah, for Christians, we saw signs that said for Christians only.
well, I don't know what type
You know?
of Christians because Christians have nothing to do with Christianity.
No,
It
it's,
has, thank you.
Yeah.
See, and we're not. I'm not well, normally I do, but I'm not bashing religion tonight. But I'm trying to show you
Yeah.
why we do these things. Why do we
Yeah.
have a wreath? Why are the
And-
colors red and
Red,
green?
yeah.
Because green is to represent the greenery,
Right.
and the red is
Yeah.
not the blood of the red. What was the red?
I thought it was fertility.
Fertility.
Fertility, and
Yeah.
the green is
Life.
like it's all about
Life.
life and nature and
Life and
continuing
nature
on.
and the sun.
And the sun
And,
continuing that
um,
not the we actually saw a Bible interpretation of how it was translated like universal it's like
Oh,
the
you mean that movie we
universe,
saw?
like- yeah that was
Yeah.
very, very interesting. And how it was taken and
Yeah.
but there were many gods that came before Christ
Oh,
that
yeah.
were
There were many.
you can make
many.
that lower if you want.
Oh,
that
sorry.
were born way before Christ, but Christians took on their stories and made them their own.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, how I got into Christianity was when they were trying to convert everybody from Saturnalia and all the other paganism around that time. And of course, you had the Puritans here in the U.S. as well.
Right.
Puritans never celebrated Christmas.
Right.
Because they
It was
No, we're
illegal
gonna-
at Christmas.
we
It
were
was
gonna
illegal
talk
in
about
America.
that.
at the time.
Because, you
And-
know, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was, and when they made it illegal, but when they came here, in different towns, so the Puritan, they celebrated Christmas at different times, but the churches was losing people, especially
Yep.
the Catholic
Yep.
Church.
Yep.
Not only the Catholic Church was losing people because everybody was converting, like the Baptists and Protestant and stuff like that. They could look in the churches. So what they decided to do was they took the pagan holiday, Saturnalia, and put it for Christmas, and they installed it into the church.
Yeah.
Here's
that's
the
what
thing
they
you
did.
said about candles. Throughout history, candles have been used to ward off darkness and evil. The first use of candles in December was during the Roman Saturnalia festival,
Yep.
where tall tapers of wax was offered to Saturn as a symbol of his light, also given given as a gift to guests. The pagans also used candles during their Yule festivities, with candlelight and bonfires being used to welcome the nights beginning to get lighter. As Christianity became more widespread, candles were put in the windows of the house in order to guide Jesus as he went from house to house on Christmas Eve.
And don't forget,
So Jesus went from house to house, or Santa?
It says Jesus.
Oh, okay.
it was actually St. Nicholas.
But
Okay.
it said as Jesus went to, whatever.
I
So,
know.
whatever. It's St. Nicholas. So.
No, but you know, the one religion now, well, there's probably more than one, but the one that we can think of that really doesn't subscribe to any pagan beliefs is Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh yeah.
So
They don't believe
and
in
that's and I have a
anything.
real appreciation for them, you know, being like that. They don't force you to give up things in the church. They say you use your own discretion on what you should give up,
But they don't celebrate anything, right? They don't
no,
celebrate
like let me show you.
birthdays.
Let me tell you the things that they don't celebrate. I mean, this is
On
actually
a regular
this is like a
calendar,
shocking
this is-
things that they don't do. Okay, no Christmas, no Easter, no Lent, no carnivals, no Olympics, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Day of the Dead, Halloween, birthdays, throwing rice, throwing the bouquet, wedding marches, astrology, the rosary, symbols on graves such as fish anchors, doves, or peacocks, the Star of David, democracy, lantern festivals,
Democracy.
mazes and labyrinths, a cross, hell, immortality of the soul, celibacy, the Trinity, Mary, Mother of God, philosophy, harvest festival, saying bless you after a sneeze, May Day, toasting, offering incense to the dead, bowing to a picture of a deceased one, throwing soil into a grave, throwing flowers into a grave, or drawing halos on religious figures. These are all, like they say, they're all pagan and they don't do any, like the bless you. I'm like, I heard that once before, like when you sneeze, people thought that there was a chance you were going to die or something, so they
I
were
would say
like,
bless you.
they're like
Even
trying
as-
to bless
even
you.
as an atheist, I say bless you. You know, it's
Well,
just
they
it's
Well, I think
rude if
it's
somebody
rooted in
sneezes-
pagan,
If
you
somebody
know?
sneezes next to you and you don't say anything, you're just like,
All right.
you know, you just-
well, I think what it was that they, and I have to look it up. I'm not sure because I'm not a doctor. But I think what is when you sneeze, your heart stops for that brief second.
Right. I think you're right. I think it's what happened. And also something very interesting. You know how the days of the week and the calendar are all in pagan?
Right.
You know, all the
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So-
It's actually a 13-month calendar.
right. So the Jehovah's Witnesses made up their own calendar, but it didn't take. So they had to like give up on the idea, but they had their own dates, their own days of the week, and their own months of the year that they named after like.
And, and actually, I want to elaborate on that, Marty. Believe it or not, especially if you're a Christian, the days are actually not sun up to sundown. I mean, sun up to sun up is actually sundown to sundown.
Yeah.
Because even in the Bible, it's sundown to sundown.
Yeah, that's true. The
Because
sundown thing about
when
the
you have-
Sabbath.
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
have the Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's from sundown to sundown.
Yeah.
The days end when the sun goes down.
Right.
But when the paganism and stuff like that, like
They
Dusty,
celebrated the sun.
the sun, and because everything's, think about it. If like let's take Easter for instance. Sometimes it's in March, sometimes in April,
Right.
and I'm like, well, how many times did Jesus die?
He didn't really die. He
Ah.
lost a weekend. He was
Yeah,
inconvenienced for
yeah,
3 days and
yeah,
came
yeah.
back. He lost a weekend for your
Yeah, it was
sins.
last weekend. I know. You know, it was weekend.
And he came
But-
back better than before.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like well, like your great grandfather, he passed away on April 5th, and then 3 years later, you celebrate his death in March, and then the next year it goes back to April.
Right.
That's always been very confusing to me on
right,
why that's
yeah,
happening. But it's from the solstice, isn't it?
So, yeah,
But
it's all-
but
it's
when
all-
you
It's-
look at the Bible from a universal, like the way they broke it down with the stars and why there's always an image of the sun behind Jesus and stuff like that, they were actually talking about the sun in the Bible. They weren't talking about the sun, S-O-N.
Right.
But the way it was changed, it's been, the Bible's been rewritten several hundred times into several languages and then retranslated back. So it's bound to do something during all that time.
Oh yeah, even the new version. If you take the
Yep.
King James version and the New King James version, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff that they took out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
And actually,
Well, the Apocryphal, too, which was
Right.
very interesting part of the Bible that they decided didn't make sense to teach in church.
Right.
But
And-
a priest that I knew, he said in there was instructions for sex
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff in the Apocryphal. I'm like, well, that's the
there's
best
40
part. Why
there's
can't they leave
40
that in there?
There's actually, I think there's 40 or 44 books missing from the Bible.
Yeah.
Really?
And
know.
the Gnostic Gospels, which are
Right.
written Aramaic,
Yeah.
they don't accept those.
Right.
Well, the reason they didn't accept those is because in there it said, move a piece of wood and I'm there, lift a stone and I'm there. So the church thought that would people wouldn't go to church anymore.
Right. And here's
Yeah.
the thing, too. The one thing they took out the most, and the only person in the Bible who has maybe about that much, like a paragraph or two, written about him is Enoch.
Yeah.
And Enoch was supposed to have walked with God, and they took that totally out of the Bible.
And
Wow.
why
Now,
did they
here's the
do
thing.
that?
Right. So here's the thing. If the Bible is supposed to be about God, why would you take out the very person
Right.
who walked with
Right.
him?
Right.
You know?
History is
Exactly.
written by the winners.
Yep.
Exactly. So, I don't agree with everything in the Bible since it was put together by man.
Yes.
And two, it was written in Aramaic first, then written in Greek.
And Jesus
That's
wasn't
right.
white, just so we all
No,
know.
no,
We're all clear.
No,
Right. No,
Jesus
Jesus
was a
wasn't
Middle
white.
Eastern
Wasn't white.
man.
Because you got to think, at that time in Africa, which they call the Middle East.
The center of civilization is Africa.
Right.
That's
We
right.
all come from
We
Africa.
all come from Africa. We're all black in a
So-
sense, you know?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm black in the crotch, but no.
I'm not, no comment.
And so I don't. And here's the thing too. In the Christianity, if you want to take it more on the paganism, you'd be surprised how much paganism is represented in Christianity.
But it's funny how you get some of these very religious people who say Halloween is a pagan holiday.
Yeah.
When Christmas is more pagan
Yeah, it
than
is.
Halloween actually.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. I'm actually elaborating what you're saying.
We should have had him on the show.
You should have been on it, but he had to work our boards because Gene left.
Yeah. I have to work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm like the wizard. Don't look behind
Don't
the
pay
Go
curtain.
attention to what's
beyond
going
the
on the curtain. Yeah.
So, if you look at, like, for instance, in the Bible, in the Ten Commandments, it says, "Thou shalt not have any graven images of me, of the earth, or
Right.
anything beyond the sea."
Right,
Yes.
And when you go into people's houses, you have the cross.
right.
Well,
And
that's why
you
it
have
says
the
that the Jehovah's Witnesses don't do the cross.
Don't do the cross.
The
Yeah.
cross, right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is in a Catholic religion, there's always a little joke about it, where you have the cross. Either it's like when you wear the cross, a lot of people, a lot of Christians don't know this, but I learned this from a lot of priests. Was that so you can take the cross any way you want. Some people think it represents Jesus of dying on a cross,
Right.
or it gives people a reminder of what the Romans can do to you as they did to Christ.
That's true too.
There were hundreds of people
or it's a
before
symbol
Christ
that's
that
a
were
pagan
crucified
symbol.
also.
Right.
And also, Catholic priests used to give out, remember you told me about this? When they molested children, they would mark their targets with a gold cross, give them a gold cross,
Right.
There was a
to make
certain
them
gold
more
cross.
susceptible to being molested
Well,
by other priests.
that was a symbol to other priests showing that that child is a vulnerable child
Child.
and could be taken advantage of.
Right.
It's so terrible. And that whole
And-
celibacy clause is not in the Bible either. They just made that so they could get their money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And-
it's so terrible to do that to people.
And actually, I know we digressed it from a little bit from the holiday, but one thing I found out also with the priests and the pedophile, that stuff goes all the way back to
Oh, yeah.
Saturnalia.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
You know, and if you think about it, the Catholic Church comes from Rome.
Yes.
Yep.
And there was
know.
lots of stuff going on. I saw Caligula.
So
That was
we're
very
looking
bad.
at, you know what, real quick, this
Yeah,
weekend I'm wearing this hat that I made,
Yeah.
and we're going to 2 winter solstice celebrations. We're going to a drum
gonna go
beating
check it out.
thing in the woods.
Okay.
And
There
we're
won't
gonna-
be any killing or anything like that.
Yeah,
we're
not
going to sacrifice.
My mom's like, going to sacrifice goats. And what are you going to do? And, you know,
You're like, what are you doing
Well,
there?
you
We're
know,
like,
since
we're
I'm-
just going to go check it out, okay?
since I'm an atheist, we're going to boil a baby. We're going to eat a baby. Right? We're going to have a baby
Yes.
for Christmas.
Baby stew.
Baby stew.
Yeah.
No, idiot. We're going to go, like, you know, we're very curious.
Right.
So I got in contact with someone. I'm going to wear my fantastic hat that I have. And we're just gonna go. We're gonna go beat some drums in the woods, and
Yeah,
see
we're going
what
to a
it's
drum
about.
circle.
Is that? Oh,
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
You know, so whatever. We're always up for like a new adventure. So I mean, you're talking to two people driving to Philadelphia to check out a new Wawa. You know.
I'll be honest
That's
with you.
right.
I'd like to go check that out myself.
So we're going to that. We're gonna go to another winter solstice celebration also. So
Yeah.
you can leave that off if you want. But
Yeah.
we're done. This is our last show before Christmas.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll be back after the new year, right?
After the new year. Trump will hopefully either have died or been indicted.
No, we don't want any martyrism, David.
No, I don't want him shot. I just want him dead. Can't
yeah.
say that on the air. I'll get investigated.
Yeah,
Actually, I
we're
just
not
wanna
going to
say-
be.
What?
I just want to say that that's why I'm non-denominational. I'm a spiritual believer in the Bible, but I don't belong. To
I love
any,
how free thinking you are, though.
you know,
You're a
to-
free
to
thinker,
Yeah, you're a free thinker.
and we
As
appreciate
opposed
that.
to Gene, who got offended and all walked out and had to go home.
Well, I tell when I tell people, I said they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get all religious with me." I said I didn't say about getting religious on you. I'm coming to you as a spiritual and a biblical sense.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me when people go, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Then they
But-
quote the Bible. They talk about Jesus. I can name a few people we know like that.
No,
And to-
because I understand what he says though, because you can, as a belief, say I don't believe in organized religion as it
Right.
is, but I have some sort of relationship with a higher power, and I don't have any problem with that. If
I
they
just
want to
think
be like
I
that.
think back to the whole pagan thing. I know we have to go.
That's all right. You're fine.
We just think it's very interesting how they're going.
Like the war on Christmas.
I'm not into I'm not into like the whole God thing and all that, but I'm curious about what they do and what they actually believe in. I'm not trying to cast a spell or anything like that. I'm
Right.
just, and
I might
have-
cast a spell actually.
Ooh, you do?
I might.
A love potion on my
Yeah.
I'm
I
just-
already cast a love potion on you.
But I'm just, I'm curious, and I'm a have to see it type of person. I just can't read about it, so I'm a
Right.
have to see it type of person,
yeah.
just to check it out.
Check it out.
You know.
Check it out.
Check
You
it
know,
out,
that-
see what's going on.
That's what I tell people. Because if you go back, even when Christ walked the earth, and there was no religion really. Yeah.
Back in
Because-
Bible land, they didn't have a Bible. You know what I'm saying?
It was taught.
They was taught and essentially played telephone. What happens when you sit with a group with a bunch of
Right.
your friends and you're whispering in each other's ears? By the time it gets back to that person. That wasn't what they said at all. So
Exactly.
imagine that going over a couple hundred.
years.
How many years after Christ supposedly walked the earth was the Bible written?
The Bible's been written over at least 300, maybe 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
And every
Rewritten.
time it's a new translation, it's a
Translation.
new something. Somebody adds something. Someone takes away something.
I know it's almost like God came down and said, "Okay, this is the new version."
This is a new right. If you believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So we want to wish, no matter what you celebrate, with your family, be safe. Use Uber or Lyft if you're gonna. Don't drink and drive. It's
Don't
really
drink and drive.
stupid.
No, what he's doing is a service. When are you going to start up with your Uber again?
Well, as soon as my car has been checked out. Because my car,
Well, I Uber Lyft, so I'm
car
off.
malfunctioned
No,
over the weekend.
I think working for Uber and
It's a
Lyft
good
is a
thing.
service to the community. You're keeping people from drinking and driving and possibly ending their lives and other people's lives.
Oh yeah.
No matter what
because-
you celebrate, Catholic, Jewish, Christian, pagan, whatever, just be safe
You
with
wanna
your
be safe.
family. Have a good holiday. Be with family.
Call somebody if you've had too much to drink.
Right.
Just
That's
call
right.
someone.
Call
You
someone.
know,
That's what I'm talking about. But
call
I do
Uber,
wanna,
call Ruben.
Yeah, call me.
I do want to go out with a final clip from a classic movie,
Yes.
and it's exactly how me and many others feel about Trump
And
at
me.
this moment, and Marty. So we're going to end with Clark W. Griswold talking about the Trumpster. And
Okay, here we
it
go.
is.
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit!
So we will see you.
We're going to see you in the
New Year's.
middle of January because our next show would have been January 1st, but we're not going to go on that day.
Right.
And so, because you're taking me out on the 31st.
We'll be
so.
too hungover. And I want tickets to Kansas
We won't
today
be
on
hung-
JRZ. So
We'll be
Kansas
back the following, which I think is the 15th.
the 15th.
So
Okay.
we'll see you guys in a month.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good enough.
Bye.
Bye.